Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Philip. And you'll notice that things are a little different today. And well, that's because we have a lot of really interesting news, well, about Citi. And we've been waiting for this for a while. Everyone's kind of been waiting for the Citi Strata Premier, or the Citi Strata Elite, rather. In fact, when I product changed one of my custom caches to the Citi Strata Premier, I accidentally said the Elite card, and the rep actually just said, "We're not offering the Elite card yet," which means that people know about it internally with Citi, and a lot of people know about it externally, kind of just in the community of credit cards. So let's get into the news first. And then what I want to do is compare it to, well, the Citi Prestige card, which was kind of what we're expecting the Elite to kind of be. And then we're going to talk about how this card could kind of fill into the gap or the overall space of premium travel cards. So let's get into the news first. So the news here is that Citi has announced that it will round out its reward earning cards by the end of this quarter. And so essentially what that means, since there's the Citi Custom Cash, there's the Double Cash, and it's theorized that the Citi Custom Cash will become a kind of basically Strata branded card. But the old Rewards Plus was rebranded as the Citi Strata. The Citi Strata Premier is kind of Citi's essentially premier kind of travel slash everything else card. And then the only thing that's missing is a premium travel card. So that's going to be the Citi Strata Elite. At least that's kind of what we're talking about. And so, we'll see what's going to happen. And but honestly, that's the only news that we have so far. Just that they have confirmed for the first time that there is something called Citi Strata Elite, and that it will be announced or revealed this quarter. And so we got to kind of figure out what's going to happen. So we're going to think about the City Strata Premier first, and so we're going to go to here. And so this is essentially this is from 1 mile at a time, and we're going to talk about the old structure of the City Prestige because this is going to really help us figure out, essentially where is City's heads at when it comes to what a premium travel card looks like. So here's the thing, so the City Premier or the City Prestige card, there's a lot of P words, is not something that you can get, right? There are some people that have it, but you can't currently get it. At its time, before it was discontinued, it did have a $495 annual fee. And so it had an additional cost for each authorized user of $75, which kind of was par for the course for a premium travel card back when this card was in action. So here's the thing. I want to talk about the reward structure here, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So here's the thing. So 5 points per dollar on restaurant purchases, including takeout and delivery, and that sit there for a minute. 5 points per dollar on restaurant purchases and grocery. So the best card that we have in the market today is the American Express Gold Card. In fact, it's my go-to dining card in my wallet. That gets 4 points per dollar. We have to pay $325 a year to get access to those multipliers. So the fact that the City Prestige had access to 5 points per dollar on restaurant purchases is kind of insane. Now, you also got 5 points per dollar on airfare and travel agency purchases. So this was pretty much for online travel agencies. So if you needed to book through Kayak or something like that, presumably that would fix. You earn 3 points per dollar on hotel purchases, 3 points per dollar on cruise purchases, and then 1 point per dollar on all other purchases. So essentially, if you take a look at the multipliers, this is a travel plus food card. And well, that kind of actually fits in with another card that we're going to talk about in in just a little bit. So now you see this too. There was a $250 annual travel credit. Now this is wide open, so this could be either towards any purchase coded as travel. So it didn't actually have to be in the city portal in order to get this access to this credit. Now it also had priority pass membership. Now, in addition to this, early on, this card actually gave you access to the Admirals Club, which is American Airlines special lounge network. And that might be actually important moving forward in our discussion as well. So, anyway, you also got the Global Intro TSA PreCheck credit. And then there was this interesting thing called Fourth Night Free. And so, when the card first was unveiled, this essentially gave you access to if you booked any hotel, either directly or through the Citi Travel portal, you got access to what was, basically essentially they would pay you back for the fourth night. And it essentially at first was unlimited, and then it became limited to two times, and then it had to go through the portal. But this was completely on Citi's part. This was definitely not through like a Hilton, through Marriott or something like that. So that's kind of a huge deal. And so, well, we're going to talk about now well, so I want to talk about first of all the rest of City's situation. So the rest of what City does, and then we're going to take a look at some of these other premium travel cards. So let's take a look at City credit card comparison. So I'm going to add this to the stage here, and let's take a look at the current cards that are in City's lineup. So we have the Citi Strata Premier card, the Citi Custom Cash card, and the Citi Double Cash. And there's also the regular Citi Strata card, which technically isn't a card yet, but it will be. So this one here, the Citi Strata Premier, has a current sign-up bonus of 60,000 points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of account opening. Now, this one gets 10 points per dollar on hotel, car rentals, and attractions booked through citytravel.com. So this is going to be important primarily because this is going to be something that, if the Citi Prestige got a maximum of 5 points per dollar on, portal purchases, some portal purchases, then 10 points per dollar is definitely kind of more than that. So you would think that the new Citi Strata Elite would either at least have this or maybe more. So we'll see about that. Now, you also get 3 points per dollar on air travel and other hotel purchases with the Citi Strata Premier, 3 points per dollar on restaurants, 3 points per dollar at supermarkets, 3 points per dollar on gas and EV charging stations, and then 1 point per dollar on everything else. Now, I like to say the Citi Strata Premier card is actually the card that the American Express Gold card should be. This is something that is not only for wide open travel, but it's also for dining and groceries. And essentially, you have some really really solid ability to earn on pretty much most of the main categories that people do. This is, if you want to have a simple setup, a simple one card setup, the City Strata Premier is a very solid option for, well, cashback and points, but less cashback now that they kind of devalued those redemptions. Now, let's take a look too. So this one has a $95 annual fee, the City Strata Premier. Now, the City Custom Cash has no annual fee. That gets 5 points per dollar on your top eligible spend category each billing cycle, up to $500. And so the categories are restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, select streaming services, and live entertainment. You can completely pick that month to month. So you can actually, just because you did one category one month doesn't mean you have to do that category the next month, right? So that's really kind of intense how useful this card is. And the fact that it has no annual fee is kind of a big deal. Now, it should be noted that this one and the City Double Cash have foreign transaction fees, which means this isn't going to be your travel card. But the City Strata Premier does not have foreign transaction fees. So essentially, this is kind of how you work in City's ecosystem. Now, let's take a look at the City Double Cash card. This one also gets no annual fee, but it does have foreign transaction fees, but it gets 1% unlimited cash back on every purchase you make. Then, as you pay for those purchases, you earn an additional 1% cash back on your payments. And so this is really kind of it's an interesting way to give you 2 points per dollar on everything. And so these are all thank you point earning cards, which essentially means that you're earning this points. You are being able to kind of continue to earn as you spend. And with these cards, the City Custom Cash and the City Double Cash, you can actually, earn and kind of redeem for cash, which is kind of awesome. So that's kind of a big deal. Now, what I want to do next is I want to talk about the the way the way that premium travel cards are now. So let's go ahead and without further ado, let's take a look at American Express. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to compare now we're going to talk about the American Express Platinum card, and we're going to discuss kind of what are the benefits of this card, where is American Express going with this card. So we're going to go ahead and actually zoom this in a little bit. Now, this one currently has an annual fee of $695. American Express has told us that this annual fee is going up. It's currently speculated that this annual fee will increase to $895. So it's going to be a $200 increase. However, some people think that could go up to $1,000 or more than $1,000. So we'll see. However, what this one gets, and the main superpower of this card, is 5 points per dollar on airfare, and it also gets 5 points per dollar on prepaid hotels paid through the American Express travel portal. And so that doesn't have to be Fine Hotel and Resorts or the hotel collection in order to get that 5 points per dollar. And so that's kind of nice. So it is expensive, but 5 points per dollar on any airfare purchase made anywhere is kind of intense. Now, this one here is kind of a lifestyle card. And so you get a bunch of different benefits. So you can get $1,500 in value. There's a $200 airline fee credit. Now, you do have to select what airline you use that with, but that's really solid. There's also the Global Lounge Collection. So this gets you Delta Sky Clubs, and it gets you into select Lufthansa lounges, as well as Priority Pass, Plaza Premium Lounges, Escape Lounges, and then, of course, Centurion Lounges. And so if you're someone who is interested in lounges, this is the card to get. Now, there's a $200 hotel credit, $199 Clear Plus credit, $240 in entertainment credits, $200 in Uber Cash credits, global dining access by Resi, $155 Walmart Plus credits, Shop with Saks credit. There's a ton of stuff, right? So let's take a look here at what the theory of the case is. So this is definitely a card between the clear access and the fact that it has the TSA PreCheck, the fact that it has the lounge access. This is the traveler's card. If you're planning on traveling, if you're planning on paying for travel, this is the card that you have when you want to have an elevated experience, or at least if you want to feel like you have an elevated experience. Now, there are tons of lifestyle credits, and those are essentially things that, essentially if you use them, you get reimbursed for using these particular credits. And essentially what that does is that allows you to subsidize what you're, putting into this card. So it can subsidize essentially lounge access, right? So that's kind of a big deal. Now, what I want to do is I also want to talk about the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And so the Chase Sapphire Reserve is in an interesting position. And essentially, basically, they're trying to basically compete with American Express, right? Because Chase has essentially been working towards that. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And so this one, it comes with a bonus of 100,000 points, plus $500 in Chase Travel promo credit after spending $5,000 in the first 3 months. And so essentially what this one gets is it gets 8 points per dollar on all purchase through Chase Travel, including the edit. And so this one's actually going to be stronger than the current iteration of the American Express Platinum card. Now, you also get 4 points per dollar on flights booked directly, which is a little bit weaker than the Platinum card. 4 points per dollar on hotels booked directly, which is actually a little bit stronger than the Platinum card. And you get 3 points per dollar on dining worldwide. And so this is actually more in line with what we were seeing with the Citi Strata Premier and the Citi Prestige card, because there's the dining as well as the travel. And so that's kind of important to note that that's kind of where Citi has been and currently continues to be. Now, this one here has a crap ton of different credits, including the annual travel credit, which is completely wide open. It's one of the better ones. You also get $500 credit for stays at the edit. You get Priority Pass membership. You also get access to Sapphire Lounges, and you get unlimited access to Sapphire Lounges with guests, which is kind of a big deal. You get global entry. You get $300 dining credit, Apple TV and Apple Music subscriptions, DoorDash membership, DoorDash promos, Lyft credits. There's a bunch of stuff, and they tell you that it's over $1,500 in value. And so essentially, if you use something of this, then hopefully maybe you will. So it's only over $1,200 in annual travel value, over $1,500 in annual lifestyle value. And so Chase is definitely going all in on this idea that it's not only a travel card, but it's a lifestyle card as well. And so that brings us again to the idea of the Citi Strata Elite. What could happen with this card? So when I was thinking about this video, and I did have some time to think about what I wanted in this video, I decided that what I want to do is talk about what I look for in premium travel cards. So let's take a look at my American Express Platinum. Why do I have this card? And well, the obvious answer is they gave me a really solid upgrade bonus on my American Express Gold card. But in addition to that, what do I get out of it? So I really treasure the clear credit. And I know this is going to sound stupid because for someone that doesn't value clear, yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like it's something that I should be valuing on its own, right? Because, it seems expensive, right? But when you're someone who is going to the airport multiple times and you want to be able to rely on the fact that it's going to take 10 minutes or less to go through security, having access to clear, having access to TSA PreCheck really can make that a reality in a lot of different places. And so some people will say that clear, the line can be longer than TSA PreCheck. And that's true. It's possible that the clear line will be longer than TSA PreCheck. But in that case, then you just go through the TSA PreCheck line because you also have that. And so having options is never a bad thing. Now, why else do I have this card? I have this card for the lounge access. And so that's kind of important to me because, well, I enjoy, especially if I'm doing a layover and as I rely more on kind of the big three carriers, layovers are more of a thing now that I'm no longer really a Southwest first kind of flyer. And so, having access to these lounges really enables me to kind of be able to relax on the airport. I'm not really stressed out. Sometimes those airport terminals can be really loud. There's a lot of people going on, and even if the lounge is crowded, it still feels more special. It still feels more luxurious, more relaxed than if I was just out with literally everybody. So I'm looking for the premium travel protection, the premium travel benefits, right? Now, I'm also looking to have kind of premium travel protections and also shopping protections with my American Express Platinum card. So it has trip delay insurance, lost baggage insurance, trip cancellation insurance. There's all sorts of fun things that just give you more peace of mind if you are using this card to fund your trips. You don't have to worry so much because if something goes wrong, well, you have somebody else to go to. That's kind of a third party that can kind of help you deal with things. And so when you think about the fact that like I look for kind of those credits, I look for ways to make the airport experience feel better. I look for ways to make myself feel better when I make large purchases or I make travel purchases, then, we need to I feel like Citi knows they need to address these major concerns with the Citi Strata Elite card. And so I feel like if they wanted to be competitive with the Citi or the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. And we're going to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve card because we know that the Platinum card will be updated. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we do know that things are going in a higher direction, right? So we know what the Chase Sapphire Reserve is, and so we're going to talk about that in particular. So this card here gets you 8 points per dollar through the portal. Now we know that the Citi Strata Premier gets you 10 points per dollar through the Citi portal. So either they need to match that 10 or it would be nice if it was 12 or maybe something more than that. Now, obviously, they also need to book kind of have a wide open travel category. And the City Strata Premier has that at 3% or 3 points per dollar. So if the Elite card had 4 or maybe even 5 points per dollar on hotels or airlines booked directly, then well, that might be a definitely get in my book. Now, having dining is also going to be important. It'd be nice if it had the prestigious 5 points per dollar, but I feel like it would be more closer to the 4 points per dollar. And so, having access to not only a card that gives you premium travel protections, and then also having access to, um, great multipliers, and would be really solid for dining as well as for travel. And so that's kind of a big deal. And so it could kind of work where it works really well if you have the City Strata Premier, and then you also need the City Strata Elite. But it would be nice if they kind of worked on their own, right? Um, whereas with the American Express lineup, you need to have that gold card or at least a green card if you want to have a higher dining category. You can't just do that off of the platinum card. And so we have those things, but really need to talk about the lounge situation. So Priority Pass is Priority Pass. It's table stakes for premium travel cards, right? But you need to have access to some type of a special lounge network. Now, here's the thing City doesn't have a lounge network, but what they do have is a very strong likelihood that they're going to deal with American Airlines as a direct transfer partner and kind of a more intense partner since they're going to be the only banks issuing American Airlines cards going forward. And so it would be really nice to see if there were some, maybe you could even limit it to a certain number of Admirals Club lounge visits per year. But I think that that would go a long way towards kind of cementing this elite idea as being in the same, premium travel card as the big, the other big cards, right? And so that's going to be kind of a big deal. I feel like it has to have Admirals Club at lounge access in order to actually be successful and be competitive in this space. And so it needs to have solid multipliers higher than the City Strata Premier, which also is already doing really well. But here's the thing, that has a $95 annual fee. And so if you're going to have a card that has several $100 annual fee, you need to have some sort of travel related credit. You need to have higher multipliers. You need to have that lounge access. And so, well, I think that's kind of what the City Strata Elite is going to look like. I think it's going to have comparable multipliers to maybe the City or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Hopefully, a little bit more in keeping with the Chase Sapphire or the City Strata Premier, right? So, if it were to build on the multipliers that the City Strata Premier has, and then maybe add on some travel protections, throw in some Admirals Club Lounge access and Priority Pass, and then maybe the TSA pre-check or something like that, and I think you've got yourself a really solid card. Because honestly, like a lot of these city cards are actually becoming very compelling, and that's kind of really interesting. Like, and their transfer partners are nice. Like they have two, 1 to 2 with choice, which means one city thank you point is 2 choice points, and that could get you a lot. It also has some really great airfare transfer partners as well. And when you include in the American Airlines potential transfer partner, well, we're kind of in an intense situation here, and I really am excited about what this could be. But anyway, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I'm really excited to see what cities got up their sleeve because, well, they're kind of doing some interesting things in this space, and I can't wait to see what happens. But anyway, thanks so much for letting me know, what you think, and thanks so much for joining me as well. And I can't wait to see you guys again. Until next time.